Congratulations, you've just woken up as a pharaoh's favorite courtier in 1250 BCE. But congratulations are short-lived when you realize your bedsheet has somehow managed to be both scratchy and sticky at the same time. It's like Egyptian cotton on steroids, only less comfortable than your grandmother's couch. It's morning in ancient Egypt, but you're already behind schedule. You didn't die of malaria last night. You still have it for another day. Your home is a palace chamber, but not the kind you'd see in a movie. It's more like living inside a giant sandcastle covered in gold leaf beautiful, yes, but with an unsettling tendency to leak when it rains. The ceiling is high and domed, adorned with intricate carvings of gods and pharaohs, but also serves as a home for bats and other uninvited guests who think the place looks cozy. You blink awake and realize you're wearing an elaborate kilt made of linen, so thin it might as well be a gauze bandage from a first aid kit. It's like dressing up in a t-shirt that has been washed one too many times. It offers little protection against the desert sun, but at least it looks fancy. You shuffle out of bed to start another day of, well, you're not quite sure what it's for yet. It's like having a job description that says be important without explaining how or why. And then there's the food. You know from experience that eating like a pharaoh means indulging in lavish feasts where everything is either too sweet or too salty, and don't even get us started on the fish guts floating in the soup. But here's what nobody expected. Congratulations, you've just woken up to the aroma of burning incense and freshly baked bread. The good news is you're alive. You are not a peasant. You're an Egyptian pharaoh. You stretch in your ornate bed, adorned with cushions and feather pillows stuffed with the finest materials money can buy. However, the room is stiflingly hot and humid, thanks to the thick stone walls that trap the heat of the Egyptian sun like a sauna. You look out your window and see the majestic blue waters of Nile, bustling with small wooden boats and people going about their daily lives. Suddenly, there's a knock on your door. Your personal servant enters, bowing deeply as he holds a tray laden with exotic fruits, honeycomb, and what looks like some sort of ancient cheese. But here's the thing, this isn't just any meal. It's breakfast fit for a god. The fruits are so sweet, they practically melt in your mouth. But as you chew, you notice tiny grains of sand mixed in with the juice. You frown and ask about it. Your servant says, the royal gardens have been watered by the river lately. You continue to eat. Try not to think about the grit between your teeth as you savor each bite of honeycomb dripping with sweetness that is almost too much for a modern palate. However, it's not just the taste, it's also the quantity. You're served so many dishes that by the time you finish one, another is already waiting at your elbow. And here's where things get interesting. Despite all this lavish dining, malnutrition and illness are still rampant among the upper classes. It's like having a gourmet meal every day, but being chronically ill from what you're eating. You'd think that with such abundance, everyone would be healthy and happy. Maybe some diseases are introduced through trade? But here's the thing, everything changed when they started importing foods from other parts of Africa. Exotic spices and grains, while adding flavor to their diet, also brought new diseases like malaria into Egypt. You start feeling dizzy and a bit sick as you realize how interconnected health is with food sources in this era. And just when you thought your fancy breakfast couldn't get any more complicated, there's the matter of drinking water. Your servant hands you a cup filled to the brim with clear liquid that looks refreshing, but wait. The Nile waters are home to parasites and bacteria. It's like having a glass of tap water directly from the Mississippi River in the Middle Ages. You take a sip, wincing at the slight bitterness but trying not to show it. But here's what nobody expected: your body will soon be fighting off infections and parasites while still trying to digest all that luxurious food. It's like juggling with chainsaws in a hurricane. As you finish your breakfast and prepare for the day ahead, one thing is clear: being a pharaoh is far from easy. You've already encountered more challenges than a modern person would believe possible in such opulent surroundings. But this is only the beginning of your royal journey. You're lounging on a silk cushion in the Pharaoh's banquet room. Your stomach rumbles as servants bring out trays heaped with exotic foods from far-off lands, spices, fruits, meats seasoned to perfection. It looks like an Instagram-worthy feast that would make Gordon Ramsay himself proud. But here's the thing. After the first bite, you notice something peculiar. Your mouth is flooded with flavors and textures unlike anything you've experienced in modern times. Every dish seems to play a trick on your senses. Sweet becomes too sweet, salty turns aggressively briny, and spices sting like wasp stings. Your tongue feels thick, almost swollen. You try to push past this odd sensation, determined not to let it ruin what should be a glorious moment. Yet every bite only intensifies your confusion. It's as if each dish is competing for the title of most overwhelming flavor profile. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, the servants bring out something truly bizarre, a drink that looks like dark syrup with floating seeds and grains. You take a sip, bracing yourself for another sensory assault. But here's what nobody expected. Your tongue is suddenly assaulted by an explosion of flavors so intense they seem to ignite a fire in your mouth. The drink tastes both bitter and sweet at once, causing your brain to spin, trying to process it all. It's like someone mixed every spice cabinet from IKEA and added a dash of dynamite. You wonder if you're missing something obvious here. Maybe there's some special technique for eating these dishes. But as you look around, everyone else seems to be enjoying themselves perfectly fine. Or are they just better at handling this culinary assault? Everything changes when one of the Pharaoh's advisors steps forward and hands you a small vial. For your health, he says cryptically. You take it confused and slightly suspicious. This is where things go from strange to terrifyingly real, because what happens next will turn everything you thought you knew about ancient Egyptian cuisine on its head. But before we reveal what's inside that vial, let's take a moment to appreciate just how much your day is about to get worse. After all, isn't every good story supposed to have one last twist? And that's all before you swallow whatever's in that mysterious bottle. After all, isn't every good story supposed to have one last twist? And that's all before you swallow. You take another bite of a lavish dessert, a cake laced with honey and spices. The flavors explode on your tongue like fireworks. But here's the thing, your stomach isn't just digesting food. It's also dealing with something far less glamorous. You might think it can't get any worse than this. However, ancient Egyptians had a surprising secret ingredient in their meals that would make even the most adventurous foodie cringe. You'd imagine it's something exotic or rare, like crushed gemstones mixed into desserts for added sparkle. But probably not. Everything changed when the practice of adding preservatives became a necessity in Egyptian cuisine. They had to keep their food fresh across the hot, dusty desert. You'd think it was honey or salt. Maybe spices like cinnamon and cardamom were used generously for both flavor and preservation. But here's what nobody expected. In reality, one of the most common preservatives in ancient Egyptian food was salted fish guts. Yes, exactly that. It might sound like something from an episode of Fear Factor, but it was quite normal back then. This practice wasn't just about flavor or longevity. It was a way to combat spoilage and ensure meals lasted through long voyages or seasonal shortages. And now you're probably wondering how this could possibly be considered appetizing or even edible by today's standards. But here's another twist, your stomach isn't just processing these strange ingredients. It's also dealing with an ancient Egyptian digestive system that had adapted over centuries to handle these unusual flavors and preservatives. This revelation brings up another question. How did people back then even manage to enjoy meals like this? Maybe they were so used to it that it became normal after a while. Or perhaps, just like you would with any new cuisine today, they developed a taste for the unexpected. So there's your final twist. The lavish banquets of ancient Egypt weren't just about opulence and excess. They were also a testament to culinary practices that might make us cringe today. But this leaves you wondering what other secrets lie hidden in the history books, waiting to surprise us with their unexpected twists? And that's all before dessert. But here's the thing. Despite your fancy surroundings, there are signs of something amiss. Your stomach feels like it's been hit by a truck. It's not just the heavy food. It's also the strange concoctions they've been serving as drinks. You'd think this would be your morning coffee or tea, right? Maybe something fancy imported from another land. Actually, it's none other than beer made from barley and bread. But here's the kicker, it was often mixed with dates or honey to make it sweeter. But just when you thought you knew what ancient Egyptian cuisine had in store for you, they spring another surprise on you. You'd think the food would at least be fresh and free of preservatives. Wrong again, these dishes are often brimming with salt to mask any unwanted flavors or spoilage. And here's another shocker. You'd expect such a diet to be incredibly unhealthy by today's standards. However, researchers have found that ancient Egyptians had a surprising secret weapon against the high-fat diets. Their daily dose of beer and wine acted as natural probiotics, helping their digestion. Everything changed when they started importing more spices and foreign ingredients. The diet became not only richer, but also more varied. But this isn't necessarily a good thing. It means more potential allergens and unknown risks. The real kicker? The dessert you're about to receive might just top everything else. They'd think something sweet like honey or figs would be a treat, right? But here's what nobody expected. You never guess it's all topped off with a dish made from ground-up bugs. You blink, unsure if you heard correctly. It's like Uber, but with horses, and Plague expect the unexpected. But just as you're about to take a bite of your dessert, the door swings open, and in walks an unfamiliar figure carrying a mysterious package. But just as you're about to take a bite of your dessert, the door swings open, and in walks an unfamiliar servant. His face is a mix of concern and urgency. "Pharaoh," he whispers, bowing deeply, "the evening's festivities are over. It's time for rest." You blink, realizing the enormity of your luxurious dining experience has finally come to an end. The plush bed is waiting for you, a stark contrast to the rough straw mattress you're used to back home. But here's what nobody expected: your body feels oddly unprepared for such luxury. You've feasted like a king tonight, but your stomach protests with unexpected sluggishness and bloating. It's as if your digestive system is stuck in the era of frugal meals and simple fare. And then it hits you: this opulent lifestyle, while tempting, comes with its own set of challenges. You might have all the riches of a pharaoh, but your body still needs to process an onslaught of unfamiliar delicacies. It's like you're suddenly navigating a new world where every meal is a potential adventure in indigestion. The palace is eerily quiet now, the bustling day replaced by serene calm. You can hear distant murmurs from servants winding down for the evening, their voices blending into a soothing background hum. This moment feels both peaceful and profound, like you've stumbled upon a secret that's been hidden in plain sight all along. As you lie there, looking up at the intricate ceiling adorned with stars painted by skilled artisans, it dawns on you the ancient Egyptians weren't just masters of architecture and art. They were also experts in creating lifestyles so luxurious they could almost be illusions. It's as if their everyday lives were a testament to the idea that life is not just about survival, but about living richly and beautifully. But perhaps that's the strangest part, not that they lived this way, but that we've forgotten how magical it once was. The quiet of the night wraps around you like a warm embrace, reminding you that sometimes the most profound lessons are found in the stillness. And there's one final thought swirling in your mind as you drift off to sleep, a reminder that even in our modern world filled with conveniences and comforts, we often yearn for the simplicity of times long past. You close your eyes, ready to dream about what it means to live both lavishly and simply at the same time. This is where your day as an ancient Egyptian pharaoh ends, but perhaps not your curiosity about their world.